Hello everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to another episode in the series here. In the last episode we introduced Flow to kind of set up our application as a bit more reactive to what goes on under the hood as far as when a database change happens, that it is propagated up to our view layer appropriately. And so things are starting to come together now. I kind of want to just clean this screen up a little bit here, do a little Mod Podge of an episode here, a little bit of cleanup, to kind of just make the app feel a little bit more useful, if you will. So I think the big issue here is that when we go ahead and just create a title and a description or whatever the case is, and we hit save, we don't really receive any feedback as a user. We don't know what happened, like, oh, did it actually happen? And then you go backwards and this keyboard is here, so that's not really too brilliant. But then also you see here every time we decided to hit save because we didn't know what was going on, we were adding a new element to the list here. So we could very easily remove these, but that's not the point. The point is that we want to provide a good UX, a good user experience to those using our application. So in this case, a little bit of feedback would go a long way, right? So you're going to go ahead and update something about our insert here because we don't really do too much right now, or we don't handle much about what happens afterwards. So we're actually going to go ahead and provide an on conflict here. I don't even know, on conflict attribute or name or something along those lines. Strategy, that's the word I was looking for. And so the default here, as you can see, is actually abort. You can read the documentation here, but it means that basically if this code tries to insert an element into the database and the IDs clash, or for some reason there's a conflict, the code will just abort and not do anything. But instead, we actually want to do what's called replace. So that means that we're going to actually go ahead and update our item that was there if we were to have a collision for some reason. So when we're inserting things into the database, that's not really too likely to happen, considering we're using the UUID generate, UUID. But we can also create or make use of the insert function to essentially update the element, this particular element, right? So if we were to click on this and maybe we go to this screen, and instead of add, it has all the information filled out here and allows the user to modify the item in place, it would probably be a good idea to also alter the record in the database instead of like deleting the old one and updating or inserting a new one. Like, you can go ahead and just replace or insert the essentially update that record. So I think, yeah, so there actually is an update function that you can use instead of this basically insertion with the conflict strategy of replace. So it's probably doing something similar under the hood, but just so you kind of understand. And so now this is a little bit safer in the sense that we know that when we're going to call insert, that it should actually insert things into the database without any issue. And if there is an issue, it will just go ahead and overwrite what was previously there. So this doesn't really change anything else about our implementation. It's more so just like an annotation feature here. But point is, after we, where is it here? So our shared view model, we insert the item into the database. So basically, if we were to run some code here, that's basically once this insertion has completed and once everything, once the database has settled. So we can, okay, yeah, so I thought about it for a second. We could provide to this function here a little bit of a, like a callback or something and do one of these, and then like this code will run when that's basically done. Which is okay, you could do it that way, but we're actually going to go ahead and do it through our live data. For lack of a better term here, we're going to go with transaction complete live data is going to be a mutable live data of type Boolean, let's say. And so then at this point we can say transaction complete live data post value, true. Right, so we're just kind of notifying something to this live data that we're going to observe in our add item. fragment here. So basically, we're just gonna, read this flag or read this variable that comes out, and if it is complete or if it did work, we kind of want to, do something here. So we're basically going to want to go ahead and clear all of this information here, maybe reset the focus to this title, the input field, so that the user is basically ready to just like add something in real quick, save it, and then add another one, save it, add another one, save it, right? And they don't have to change anything or manually remove things here. So if we just go ahead and let's see, we're going to just remove the error here in case there was one, which actually there shouldn't be. Yeah, never mind. There shouldn't be, because in order to get past, in order to save something in our database, we need to actually, we end up setting the error to null if there was one. So we can just say title, edit text. I believe setting the text to null will just clear it. We can request a focus on that view, which we'll go ahead and hopefully put the cursor in there. And then what else do we have? Description, edit text. Did I really name all of these in? I guess so. I forgot the X. Okay. Like I said, little bit of cleanup. Okay. And then what else do we have here? We have a radio group. It's not, it's called checked, sorry. Check, and this is the ID of the view, I would assume. Radio button low, and that should be about it. I think we're good there. Oh, well, let's also add a little bit of a toast. Okay, so go ahead and rerun that again, but now we're just going to provide a little bit of a toast here to the user to notify them that, hey, your information was saved, clear everything out, request the focus again. So basically kind of allowing the user to rapidly enter some. So we're going to go ahead with title, description, we'll set it to high, we'll hit save. So you see down here, it comes up basically over the keyboard, everything was reset, and now they're ready to go again. So if we say, title 2, description is supposed to be a 2, but it's not. Let's see if we close the keyboard and we hit save. Again, item saved, but we don't have our keyboard open, so we could possibly clean that up. And then if we try to save, we have a required field here. So, and then we could see that our database has been updated, and actually when we navigate backwards here, we do not really close up our keyboard, which is, definitely a little bit annoying, a little frustrating. I don't know if you've run into some applications that actually have that, and it's like, come on, hopefully you should be able to do this pretty quickly. Unfortunately, I don't remember the syntax for this here. Okay, so after looking some stuff up here and take a look around, there's so much. It's actually a joke in the Android community about how difficult it is to actually show and hide the keyboard here, but I just created two simple helper functions here that exist at the activity level, so we can use them in the different fragments. But we do obtain something called the input method manager, and then we actually can call here the hide soft input or the toggle soft input, and they've come out with a new way. Google's come out with a newer, better way to do this, from my understanding. But I actually just I don't know. This is the old school way, and it still works and whatnot. But if I find a good article on it, I'll go ahead and update this implementation. But for all we need to do right now, this will go ahead and actually get the job done. So we can, in our on resume of the home fragment, we're going to go ahead and call main activity, hide keyboard, and then our view here, which at this point, oh, okay, we'll just go with require view. At this point in the on resume, it's pretty safe to call require view or get view here. It should be non-null at this point, otherwise something else has gone catastrophically wrong in the app. So if it wasn't going to crash then, it would probably have crashed soon after anyway. But anyway, we can give this a quick look here. We don't even have to add anything here. We can just go ahead and go backwards, and then you can see the keyboard kind of hiding itself. And then if for some reason the keyboard's already down and is not there, and we navigate backwards, everything's all good and well. So we can also kind of basically do the reverse on the way into this add function, or not add function, this add screen here. It would probably make a lot of sense to request the focus here and expand the keyboard. So I'm just gonna close everything we haven't touched yet. Also, now that we have this nice little helper, we can do main activity dot show keyboard here when they also complete or when they save something to the database. And then more or less, well, okay, I guess we could do it at the end of onViewCreated. We could also just run that. So we should show keyboard and default select our title edit text. So now upon arriving to the screen, we should have our keyboard pop up for us. And our little title area here is already selected. If we go backwards, we actually lose that keyboard, so it starts to actually make a bit more sense here. And then if we, let's say, close this and hit save, yeah, emulator's running slightly slow, but you can see that we've reselected our title again upon once things have been completed, and then we also get our keyboard up for the user there. So just a few like quality of life things that sound silly but really can go a long way from just the usability of the application. And then, let me think, was there something else I wanted to do? So we've actually run into a small issue here with our item saved. We will cover that probably in the next episode, but we're basically, leaking some stuff in our, we'll do it right now. What am I talking about? Say on pause. We're going to do take our live data here, and we're going to post the value false. There's a better way to do this, but for now, this will get the job done. The problem is that we actually have this stored at the activity level, this live data, if you remember, is scoped to the activity, so it outlives the fragment lifecycle. So the information of the state of that variable actually is persisted longer than it should be. So when they save an item into the database and then they leave the screen and come back, we listen to our live data, and fortunately there's actually data in that, and it is a Boolean that says true, and so this code will actually run as well. So basically in the on pause, we can go ahead and post false, and so you can see here, that's why we have this small check to say if complete, run this code here. So if we go ahead and basically like nuke that information when this simulator's moving slow, when this fragment here pauses, we will not have that become an issue. So you can see here, if I were to just close the keyboard and then basically pause the fragment by putting the app into this, backgrounded-ish state and then resuming, that probably happened because of the focus. But if we go ahead and save something, right, so we've saved our item into there, and then if we go back, we don't have a toast here that said item saved again, because again, we kind of set that data to be false. So there's a better way to handle this again in the structure of our data, but for now we can go ahead and kind of mimic this interaction that we have at the moment. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, for now, I think this has been a little bit of just like a, random cleanup episode. So I'm just gonna kind of finish it here, end it here. We'll pick up in the next episode, maybe doing something else here on the home screen that has to do with the way we sort and display this data or something along those lines. It seems like we actually failed to close our keyboard there, so that was interesting. All right, yeah, experiencing some weirdness with the emulator. It's actually moving quite slowly and whatnot. So anyway, we're gonna cut it here. I will catch you in the next one. Looking forward to it. So stick around.